Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble.
Hey, hope you guys are doing well. It's your boy, Ben Humble, back at the show here. And today we got a really cool topic. We're talking about curing the disease. What does that mean? We're going to talk about it. I've got a really cool guest here with me today. And it's something really, really important to me that's been really life-changing, folks. So the last several years, I battled with this same disease. We're going to talk about it. And I finally got a grasp on this thing. I finally took hold of my life. I finally got really accountable in this area of my life, and I finally changed it around. So I know that this is so important for folks. And, you know, for those of you guys at home that are struggling with this disease, we're going to be talking about it with an actual expert. We're going to be jumping into a whole bunch of cool stuff here. Hey, do me a quick solid. If you're on the show and you get value, we don't charge a dime for this. We put it together. We try to drive massive value to you every day, give you some entertainment, give you some practical information, some practical knowledge, and some amazing guests that I bring on here. Today, we're talking about curing the disease with my man. I've got a good friend of mine. Met this guy a couple years ago, and my boy Ben Azadi is going to be on the show here with us today. And I met Ben, and he's this guy has gone through life. He's very seasoned, very experienced, and he helps people get their life together. He's done such an amazing job in this space. I know he's got a big community of following of people that follow him. We actually spoke on a stage together a couple of years back with a good friend of ours, Chris Root. And, meeting Ben, he's just got such a gentle spirit, but he's so knowledgeable about this area. So I'm really these days focused on, the health of your mind, the health of your body is such a critical component to the health of everything else, because the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. So, folks, I'm so happy. Let me bring on my man right now, Mr. Ben Azadi. Welcome to the show. Good to have you here, my man.
Hey, I'm excited to be here with you, Ben. Thank you for that amazing introduction, brother.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah, folks at home, we got a lot of folks, Ben, in my audience who are pursuing their fitness right now. This is a big topic with me because I think I slacked on it for so long. So I'm so happy that you're here, man. And maybe Hans might even embarrass me today here in the studio. You might have some pictures and stuff of like old, chubby, pudgy, out of shape, fat Ben. But listen, I'm so glad you. Oh, wow, my Lord. Look at that transformation. Hans got me. Dude, Hans, you put me on blast right now. Look at that dude in the middle. You see, I don't even realize how fat I was, Ben, at some point, because for me, it just became normal, dude. So, I'm telling you, it's embarrassing in a way, but at the same time, it's very refreshing, because I know that sometimes you got to go through a little bit of hurt and some pain, right?
Amen, brother. I've been there as well. So I feel exactly where you're coming from.
Just jump into this, man, because you've got a really amazing story. So you've been through this same journey, a little bit different than mine. Would you kind of give us a background, dude? Because you're so good at presenting this stuff. But give us your story here real quick of how you even got into this whole space of personal well-being, fitness, wealth, and health at the same time.
Yeah, so most of my life, I was that obese kid growing up here in Miami. My parents also immigrated, like your parents. My parents immigrated here from Iran, had my sister and myself. And I was that fat kid growing up here in Miami, Florida, bullied, picked on, low self-confidence, low self-esteem. And that really transitioned into my early adulthood. And I was addicted to drugs, video games, fast food, not prioritizing my health. And that would link to my poor results in life. I had nothing going on with my businesses. I had no inspiration. I had no ambitions back then. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur meant. And it was no coincidence that when I filled my body with this junk food, I was thinking junk thoughts. So I had to hit rock bottom when I was 24 years old to wake up. I always say that I was tiptoeing my way through life, hoping to make it safely to death up until that point. And if my heart would have stopped beating at the age of 24, it would have just been a mere formality. So I had to hit rock bottom. I had to use that as a springboard to launch into something great. And it all started, by the way, with prioritizing my health, helping me understand that I am the victor of my future, not the victim of my past. And it all starts with my health. It starts with the decisions I make on a daily basis, the food that I eat, the thoughts that I think, the movement that I achieve.
We came to Canada in 1991 with nothing but a will to thrive. They risked everything they had, left behind everyone they knew.
The only way out of the country was illegal, and the risk was huge.
I adopted the mindset that my parents had of faith and vision for my life. You see, they helped me understand that you get to decide what happens in this world. By the age of 30, I became a millionaire. I refused to accept scarcity, limiting beliefs, or someone else's excuses. So you want to know what the secret is? People ask me all the time, what's the secret? You want to know what it's going to take for you to succeed? Here's the truth.
And you fast forward from that moment, Ben, you know the story. I was 24 years old, weighing 250 pounds. I took responsibility. I started to focus on my health. 9 months from that moment, I went from 250 pounds down to 170. I went from
wow, dude, that's huge.
Thank you, bro.
Massive. I love that.
I went from 34% body fat to 6% body fat. Finally got that physical six-pack, but more important than that, I carved out the mental six-pack, brother, and that's what got me started in the health space.
Dude, that is incredible. So you lost what, like 80 pounds essentially, right?
That's right.
Dude, that's just amazing. We've actually got pictures of Ben. Bring it up, Hans. Show the world, man.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. We got you, dude. Look at that. We got your IG, bro. We got you hooked up. Look at this cat, man. But Ben, this is so powerful because, like, talk to me about the mental anguish and talk to me about, like, what does it take? What kind of mental conditioning does it take for a person to go through that journey?
Yeah, well, the journey of focusing on my health or before that?
Yeah, I mean, walk us through it, because I think a lot of people are kind of stuck. Like for me, I just didn't think it was that big a deal. I was like, yeah, I'll lose weight later. But then I eventually got 50 pounds overweight, and I was like, oh crap, now I'm fat, right? So what did that look like for you? I guess that journey and your mindset wise.
Well, at that point when I was 24, weighing 250 pounds, unhealthy, never exercised in my life, I felt like I was 80 years old, dude. I felt like I was 50, 60, 70 years older. And I was 24 years old, feeling like crap, pulling out my back, having inflammation, having just bad health, poor health. So it felt like I didn't know what the next step was. And when I went on the internet, there's so much conflicting information on there. So the journey was a tough one. It sucked. And here's the formula that I'm going to share with you and your audience. When I started to work out, it sucked. I was sore all the time, right? You could experience, the same thing. I would go to events and I wanted to be disciplined. So I would decline the bad food. I would decline the alcohol, and that discipline, sometimes it sucked because I wanted to enjoy myself. But the formula that worked for me, and I believe it works for anybody out there, is success, right? I embrace.
I love that, man. Do that again. I love that.
The formula is success.
There you go.
So I embraced the suck and I just kept pushing forward. So I developed this discipline muscle, and the journey was a tough journey, but anything that's worth it is going to be a challenge. And if it challenges you, it's going to change you. So for me, it was a journey of reprogramming my thoughts and my mind by getting authors and reading books from Wayne Dyer and Bob Proctor and other people that are teaching this prosperity, abundance mindset. So I had to change my thoughts, change my daily activities. And, I look back as well and I'm like, man, who was that guy? Like, I don't believe that was me. And it even took me 2 years after my transformation to actually feel like I'm that lean person. 2 years, dude. So I look back now, and people who meet me now, they have no idea that this is a large part of my life. I struggled with this for 24 years, dude. And it feels like a whole new world to me. But I did go through it, and I could relate to you in a sense when you look back and you're like, who the heck is that guy?
Yeah. Dude, it's so powerful what you're talking about, because I think a lot of people don't recognize that the same mental conditioning and the same kind of pressure you have to go through to get your fitness in check is the same as business. We have to do things we don't like. We have to undergo change. We have to become better, more evolved versions of who we are. And it's not about changing your identity. It's about understanding your identity and then pushing yourself to become the best version that you can be. And we talk about that a lot. So, going through this physical change, I promise you, will affect your business, your relationships, your mindset. It really does spill over. So I had to talk to somebody who said, hey man, I struggle with mindset. I struggle with getting my business off the ground. I struggle with whatever. And a good buddy of mine who's a trainer, he says, dude, go to the gym. Just go to the gym. Put yourself through physical stress. Because when you start doing that, at least you're putting yourself in momentum. And then when you start going back and you want to make an offer on a house or do something in business or complete that website, it becomes so much less significant. Like the fear kind of starts dissipating, or what the workload, because dude, it's hard to put your body through that kind of stress. So is it the same to you, Ben? Because I know you're a business owner as well. Like, is it the same thing in your mind?
All disciplines transfer, brother. So amen to that. If you want to build confidence and conviction with whatever you're doing, business, health, whatever, if you want to build that conviction, you do what you said you were going to do. And it could start with going to the gym. Hey, I'm going to work out today. You said you're going to do it, and you do it. But the opposite is true. If you want to lose confidence and struggle with your business, then don't do the things you said you were going to do, because that also builds up. So it's a muscle you develop. You stack these wins, and that's how you get that conviction. How do you think Ben here has this conviction? How do you think he's crushing it out there? Because he stacks his discipline. He's built up that muscle. So yes, Ben, you transfer these disciplines, and the same goes with intermittent fasting. The same goes with eating the right foods. All of these are disciplines that build up this muscle, and that transforms into your business. It transforms to your relationships. It transforms to every aspect of your life.
See, I love you saying that, because, you know, a lot of the people that I follow and a lot of people that I respect as business owners are all in great shape, right? And that's not by accident. Folks, I think the understanding is that it makes you a better business owner. When you're in shape and your body's working, not just emotionally, not just, you know, so much with energy, but it just makes you better, because you're right. It's transferring that discipline, that mindset. You're in the zone more often. And when you start winning a little bit over here, then you start winning a little bit over here, and you start stacking wins, and then you got real progress behind you. So I love that you would kind of create that narrative, which is so important, I think, to folks to understand that you have to do both. If you're neglecting your fitness, and my mentor Mark did the same thing. He was overweight. You know, he made a lot of money, but he was overweight. He said, dude, you can't just cheat at life. It's not okay to go out and say, I'm going to have 3 pizzas today because I made $1 million in business. You're going to regret that decision. If not today, then definitely tomorrow, because it'll compound. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. What good is all that money if you don't have the energy and the health to enjoy it? Absolutely.
There you go. So talk to us, man. A lot of people are getting started with this kind of mindset, especially now they're at COVID. Can you give us some keys or some wisdom, some hacks even in the fitness space? Because I know intermittent fasting is a big thing with you. Give us some like a entrepreneurial hacks. What should people be doing right now with their bodies and their food consumption if they want to pursue business as it relates to it?
Yeah, the question that most people do not ask me is, what are some things I can remove to help build this immune system and build the energy and the health to crush your business? So here's where I would start, is start removing things, right? Start removing the high carbohydrate, high processed sugars that you're eating in your diet. I have a study here, Ben, that I'm making a video on. So I got this research from a professor. His name is Brian Peskin from MIT. I just interviewed him for my podcast. He showed that you have a decrease in your white blood cell activity. So your immune system is decreased by up to 2 to 5 hours when you have the equivalent of 20 teaspoons of sugar in your blood. So what does that mean? If somebody's like, I have no idea what that means. So here's an example for you. If you ate a 12-inch pizza, and that's about 160 grams of carbs, that's equivalent to 32 teaspoons of sugar in your blood. That weakens your immune system for the next 2 to 5 hours.
Wow. Dude, that's insane. For one pizza. That's why you feel so sluggish when you're eating that food. Exactly. And right now, we don't want to take any of those hits. So the second thing is this. A bag of fat-free potato chips, 8 ounces, 38 teaspoons of sugar in the blood weakens your immune system by more than 5 hours, okay? So right now, we want one bag of chips?
One bag of fat-free potato chips, dude.
So what about the non-fat-free ones?
It has more fat, so fat was a little bit better as a buffer to the blood sugar, but still not good.
Okay, so the idea is this stuff is having a greater impact on your day than you actually think it is. That one bag of chips, which is the one thing that we go to, like especially me back in the day, I'm going towards that chips. I'm going towards that food when I'm tired, because that's what I want. I want that I want that feeling. I want the satisfaction. So I'm going towards those calories because it make me feel good when I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to take less hits. So let me give you an example here. When we study the greatest athletes in the world, right? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, who just passed, Dwayne Wade, Tom Brady. I mean, whoever you consider as a great athlete, what did they all have in common towards the later years of their career? They changed their game, right? They stopped taking as many hits. Kobe, LeBron now, Dwayne Wade, they stopped going to the basket as much, right? Because it extended their shelf life. So when we look at the human body, let's take less hits. Eating sugar every single day, eating carbohydrates every single day, every 2 to 3 hours, you're taking so many hits here and you're shortening your lifespan. So let's start removing the interference, take less hits, and live a longer life. And that's a perfect example right there. The chips, the pizza, it's okay to have it once in a while. But if you're doing it every single day, not only is your energy and focus going to suffer, but you're going to have less years to live on this planet to build your business.
So what does intermittent fasting look like to you then? How should people be applying this principle?
Yeah, if you've never done intermittent fasting before, then it's probably a good idea to start eating more healthy fat, more protein, and slowly decrease your carbohydrates. Do that for about 17 to 21 days. And then you do intermittent fasting. How does that look like? Simple hack for everybody on here who wants to try it. Just 3 hours before bed, do not eat anything. Go to bed, sleep your 6 to 8 hours. And then when you wake up, do not eat anything for another 3 hours. That should be about a 14 to 16 hour fast. Then you break your fast. So that's a perfect way to start right there.
So 3 hours before bed and 3 hours after you wake up, you eat nothing.
Exactly.
Water, I'm guessing?
You have water. You have water, okay. A little bit of some sea salt in there, but that's it.
Okay. So, but no other food. And what that does, because I've been through this whole journey, is like, yeah, it sucks at the beginning. I'll be honest with you guys. It's not going to be pleasant. Your stomach's going to like grumble and all this other stuff. But what happens afterwards is my body doesn't even crave the food for a while. I'm good. Like, it's like, nope, I'm good. Boom. And I wake up and I'm so energized, right? I know Chris, one of our buddies here, he puts a little bit of, coconut oil or whatever, coconut fat, but just to get the healthy fats going. But then he doesn't eat for hours upon hours. And you get conditioned as a kid. You're eating 3 meals, 4 meals a day, 5 meals, whatever, snacks in between, all this stuff. Truly, does your body need that much food though? Or does it weigh you down? Yeah.
Well, shout out to Chris Rude, by the way. If you want to separate yourself as an entrepreneur in your space, whatever space you are, man or woman right now watching this, if you want to separate yourself from an amateur to a pro, you got to incorporate intermittent fasting. Here's why. It is a superpower. It is a super hack, because when you are eating food, let's say you are not doing fasting, you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, you're snacking, it takes massive amounts of energy and resources and blood flow to process that food, to take it from chewing to dissect that food from macronutrients to micronutrients and assimilate. Takes blood flow away from your brain, and it takes focus away from you. So the opposite, let's say you start practicing intermittent fasting. Now you have all that energy, all the resources, and that blood flow, and the body is so freaking smart. We're hardwired for the old school. So here's what happens. When you don't eat food and you're fasting 16 hours, 18 hours, like you just said, you're skipping breakfast, the body starts to think, oh crap, we are in a famish. There is no food around. The body doesn't care about Uber Eats. The body doesn't care about your refrigerator. We're hardwired this way, all 70 trillion cells. So it raises these counter-regulatory hormones, and it literally pumps you full of energy because it wants you to have focus and energy to go outside and hunt and kill your next meal. But the ultimate hack here for an entrepreneur is that you're not going to do that. You're going to use all that energy, all that focus to crush an interview like this, to crush a sales call, to just crush your day. So intermittent fasting is the ultimate tool for an entrepreneur who wants to go from being an amateur to a pro.
It gives you that edge, right?
Huge edge.
Gives you the edge. And even just time, we talk about the time contraction, right? Doing as much as possible, being as efficient. When we take time to go out, go for lunch, do this, like you're investing so much of your time and energy into just food.
Yeah, dude.
You're investing it back into your business, right? Because you get distracted. Now you got to repivot. Now you got to refocus on what you're doing. Now you're sluggish. Now you're pounding coffees. This is tea, by the way. But go ahead.
I did the math on that, by the way. So if you had breakfast, let's say Monday through Friday, and you spent about 20 minutes Monday through Friday eating breakfast, cooking breakfast, and you spent about $15 on breakfast. If you did fasting and just skip that every single morning, you get back 2.5 days. Okay, each year, and you get back $3,900 each year. So that's time and money you could put back into your business. So your point exactly.
So, and you get adjusted, because I know a lot of people say, but hey man, Ben, isn't food energy? Don't you need carbs to get more energy? Or am I going to crash because I don't have enough sugar or carbs in my body? What does that look like to you? Like, how does your body condition or change when you start removing the sugar and the excess carbs, especially those complex or those crappy carbs?
Yeah, well, that's why I said before you do fasting, start dropping your carbs down and increasing your fat and protein. That's the way I teach it. If you get somewhat keto adapted first going into it, then your body has the metabolic flexibility to go from burning your sugar reserves down to tapping into its fat stores. If you do fasting too soon, you are not going to get these benefits I'm talking about. You're going to crash, you're going to be irritable, you're going to be hangry because your body does not have the capability to go from burning its sugar reserves to its fat stores. So it'll start breaking down muscle, and your brain will have intense signals for carbohydrates and sugar. So you got to do it the right way. Get a little bit keto, fat adapted first. That just means having more fat and protein, less carbohydrates for about 3 weeks. Then you practice the fasting.
So let me ask you this, because I want to clarify this point for folks. When you're consuming, lots of sugar, lots of carbs, your body is burning that sugar, right, for energy instead of burning the fat. So what does that transition look like? Can you just clarify that point for folks? Like, what do you mean becoming fat adapted? What do you mean burning fat instead of burning sugar for energy?
Yeah, I love that you asked me that question because I love giving the answer. Out of the 70 trillion cells we have in the body.
By the way, if you guys are interested in real estate investing and you are in Canada, I wrote a book here called Real Estate Secrets Exposed. Learn how to actually make money virtually, which is cool, from the comfort of your home. Yes, it is possible if you understand the value and how to do wholesaling. And if you don't know anything about wholesaling, you need to grab this book. It's absolutely free. There's no page numbers. There's nothing else in there. It's just ready to go, though. Humble.ceo to grab your free copy.
Out of the 70 trillion cells, they could only choose sugar or fat for a fuel source. Most people, 90% of Americans, are sugar burners, meaning they need a hit of glucose. They need a hit of food every 2 to 3 hours to get that spike of glucose. There is a problem with that, Ben. When you have taught your cells to burn sugar as its primary fuel source, that is a dirty fuel source. So here's the analogy that I'm going to give you. That's like a Mack truck that is speeding through the highway with all the smoke coming out of its exhaust pipe. That's what's going on within your cells when you burn sugar. When you transition and you start teaching the body to utilize fat instead of sugar, you teach your cells, the mitochondria in your cells, to burn fat instead of sugar. That's like transitioning from that Mack truck to a Tesla. Clean energy, cleaner energy, no smoke coming out of its exhaust pipe. So that's what I mean. And we know when you burn fat, it creates less byproducts, meaning less stress and cellular smoke, if you will, meaning you live longer. The body is designed to burn fat, not sugar. And that's what I meant by that.
Dude, that's awesome. That's such a great explanation of that. Because you're right. Some people they're addicted to sugar, man. It's a drug. Sugar is a straight drug. Let's call it what it is. When I first got married with my wife, because I grew up kind of not having a lot of food options in the house, 9 children, right? I'm the oldest of 9. So like whatever was available, we'd eat, right? It just kind of became how it became. So when I first moved out for the first time, I bought a duplex, moved into this property. I remember going to the store and buying every variety of cereal I could find. Every variety. Juice, cereal, milk. I called my brother. I was like, yo, dude, I got some cereal, bro. I got the name brand stuff. Come on over. And I remember going for periods where I would drink pop and juice. I remember at least a month I didn't drink water. And when I got married, my wife says, you can't do that. I'm like, sure I can. I'm 23. I can do whatever I want. I'm skinny. I'm whatever it is. It's not a big deal. But then that book, The Slight Edge, that whole principle comes in, right? You drink enough pop and juice and crap in your body every day. And then what happens is you wake up and you're adding 10, 15, 20 pounds a year, to your body. And now you feel sluggish. Now you're fat. Now you're overweight. Now you lost confidence. Now you lost all this stuff. And it's like, it's not worth it, folks. Because what's going to happen is you're going to do this now. If you decide to become a business owner, take my word. At some point, you're going to have to course correct whatever you're doing. And if you're abusing your body through food and alcohol and drugs and substances or whatever else, at some point, you're going to want to course correct. Because even if you make a lot of money, then it's about preservation. How do you preserve your capital, your health, right? Your wealth? How do you preserve your lifestyle? And a lot of that's going to come back to, I'm battling this disease, which is I'm sugar adapted. So what I'm saying is at some point you're going to do it anyway. So why not start today? See, in that book, it talks about the small decisions over time, they compound. So it's just as easy to say you're going to work out tomorrow as it is to do it today. But because it's just as easy, we just push it till tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes the next day and our emotions keep pushing it forward and forward. And then we start compromising the commitments we've made with ourselves. This is what we do. So I know that it's hard, and I know that other people in your family are chowing down on chips and pop and soda and the rest of that stuff. But Ben, what is the first step for a sugar addict? What is the first step for somebody who knows they need to get this area of their life in check, but they haven't?
Yeah, that book, by the way, The Slight Edge, was the first book that I read that transformed my life, by the way. So I love that you mentioned that.
I love that book, dude. It really helped me.
Yeah, same here. So what's the first step? If you are a sugar addict, then we're going to have to reprogram your metabolism, reprogram your thoughts around food. Mindful eating, I have seen this, Ben. When you become fat adapted and you start eating more protein and fat and less carbohydrates, you adjust, and your palate now craves the fat, craves the avocados and the eggs and the bacon and the steak and all that. All that's fine. So it's going to take some time. What are some things you can do if you have a family with all that sugar in there? You could transfer that addiction, meaning there's a lot of energy in any addiction, right? Food addiction, any kind of addiction you could think of. So find something that you could transfer that energy into. Maybe it's a project you're working on for your business. I don't know what it is, but for me, I was always told that I had an addictive personality, right? And that would destroy me in a sense, because when I was growing up, I got addicted to drugs, and then I got addicted to video games. But then I figured out, hey, there's a lot of energy here. Where can I transform or transfer this energy? And I transferred it into studying and growing my business and helping people. So find a way to transfer that energy into something that's more productive, along with the dietary changes, and you're going to find that you're going to have a new palate for healthy fat.
Dude, I got to drop a bomb with that. I love this, man, because you're saying, dude, just get focused on something. You see, a dormant mind is a bad mind. When you're dormant, you're in a state of sleepiness, and you're sitting there watching Netflix. If you get bored, you're going to go for snacks and food. It's a natural tendency. So don't get bored. Stay productive. Take the energy that you got. I'm so hungry. Great. Go do some work. Go do something and watch the hunger pain is going to go away. Drink water, drink a tea or something, right? No sugar, and just go to work and watch how those hunger pains eventually become less and less and less and less. And then your body doesn't create. Your body's becoming an engine. It becomes in the zone. And then you're burning the higher level octane instead of burning that cheap crap that people are used to burning. I'm telling you, it will be a progression. It will take time. But if you do it, what's going to happen is you're going to open up a whole new level of thinking and ability, right? Because now you're going to gain clarity. And I think that's the one thing with fasting that I've noticed is that your mind just thinks better. Is it because there's more oxygen to the brain? Is it because, what's the reasoning why all of a sudden you gain clarity when you're fasted?
Yeah, there's a few things. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, you have the blood flow that would have been used on digestion now powering the brain. That's number one. Number two, there's a certain part of your brain, a chemical called BDNF. It stands for brain-derived neurotropic factor. But all this means it's a miracle grow for your brain. So we know those who have more BDNF, they're more creative, they're more resilient, they're more, those are the people who are going to crush their business and crush their day. When you fast, you get an increase in this BDNF, you get extra blood flow, and there's a spiritual component to it as well. You are more in tune, you're more aware. It's fasting has been spoken about in every single religious group you could think of. It's been around forever, since humans have been around. So there's a lot of things going on there, and I could totally relate to you, Ben. When I am fasting, I call it a superpower. I am focused, I am clear, and I get most of my work done in that fasted state.
I love that. You're totally right, man, because in our faith, Christianity, being fasted and praying during fasting is like the way that, we gain clarity from God. We get clarity from what we need to do, and we have to be in that state, right? So talk to us, because it definitely affects your mood, right? Food affects your mood. And a lot of people are in tough situations right now. A lot of people are at home, they're bored, they're angry, they're bitter, whatever the case is. How does food affect our mood, and what food should we stay away from that maybe is contributing to the problem, not helping us?
Yeah, food does affect our mood. You're right. It affects our mood in this way. If you're a sugar burner, eating carbohydrates, eating every 2 to 3 hours, you're always spiking glucose, right? It's that blood sugar, the sugar in your bloodstream. When that blood sugar gets spiked, it needs to come back down. And when it comes back down, all of a sudden, you're not your true self, right? You've seen that Snickers commercial, right? Hungry, why wait, or whatever they say.
Grab a Snickers.
You're not yourself when you're hungry, right? That's exactly right. The point. When you're a sugar burner, you're going to need another Snickers bar. But when you're fat adapted, you are your true self. You are your true personality. You don't have to rely on what's happening with your hormones and blood sugar levels. It's not controlling you. It's a burden off the shoulders. Imagine this. If you're an entrepreneur watching this, which I know all of you are, when you become fat adapted, when you start practicing intermittent fasting with combination of being fat adapted, it is such a relief and burden off your shoulders. You don't have to know when your next meal is going to come from. You could be traveling on an airplane, not have to eat that crap on the airplane. It is so empowering to do so. So I have found that those who become fat adapted are their truest version, their truest personality. And not only is that great for the person, but their family also gets their truest personality.
I love that. I love that you would say that. And if folks, if you're going to be in business, the truth is anything that holds you back from pushing forward, whether it's your health, whether it's other addictions you might have, it becomes a problem, and it's a real problem. So being able to focus and get this area of your life inclined and get it fixed, it's going to really help you leverage. You're going to get the slight edge, right? You're going to get an edge over every other business owner, entrepreneur who hasn't yet mastered this. Because I'm telling you from my experience, and Hans threw the pictures up earlier, dude, it sucks to be fat. It's hard. And in fact, nobody wants to be there, but a lot of times we run towards comfort instead of running towards purpose or running towards progress. So you're not going to get it perfect. That's why there's so many diets out there and things that people jump into. It's not about perfecting it. It's about every day putting a foot in front of the other and saying, today was a good day. I'm progressing. I'm growing. And I understand that it's a journey. And listen, I get for some people, this is harder than others, right? Some people just don't have this hankering or this deep desire to eat everything they see. I did. I'm a poor kid, and for me, it was like, dude, I want to eat everything. There's nothing that's not available to me. So, for people in that situation, I think it's so important that we recognize at least, hey, this is an addiction. You either recognize it's an addiction, you do something about it, or you just know you're living as an addict. You're a food addict, right? It's a real problem, and it leads to things like depression, right? At least there's things, the overweight in the body for me is not the root of it. That's just the side effect. The way you look is a side effect of the way that your body is running, the way that you feel, and the way that you feel about yourself, because it affects your mind. So talk to us about how this really affects perhaps our mind or our self-esteem, as individuals when we don't have this area of our life in control, or what you might have felt like back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if somebody is watching this right now and they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still confident. I'm still secure, even though I have this extra weight. Well, you might not know it consciously, but it's happening subconsciously. And it boils down to this. How could you be your greatest version of yourself if you're not healthy? It's just, if your body's not firing on all cylinders, how could it be? So I always say that I'm all for earning money and making a big impact. Absolutely. Do that. But what is that worth if you have all that money in the bank account, but you don't have the energy, the vitality, the health to enjoy it? Okay. The person who is a multi-millionaire and unhealthy and sick would exchange their life with somebody who is broke but healthy. They do it in a second. So health is our true wealth. So let's go back to your question a few minutes ago when you said, what are some things we can avoid that's causing this inflammation? And I love how you said being overweight is not the problem, it's a result of the problem. Amen to that. Yeah. So what are some things that are causing the inflammation? Because inflammation is the word there that people need to hear. When you have too much inflammation, cellular inflammation in your body, not only are you going to get those symptoms like being overweight, whatever it is, obesity, diabetes, you're also going to be susceptible to this coronavirus, right? So one of the biggest hits, and I already mentioned sugar, so we're not going to talk about that, but one of the biggest things that cause this inflammation are actually vegetable oils. Vegetable oil. So the canola oil, the corn oil, the soybean oil, these are inflammatory oils that if you have it in your pantry right now on these products, you got to avoid them. There was a study that showed a plate of French fries that was fried in this canola oil resulted in 132 days of cellular inflammation, Ben. 132 days.
That's crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you. Crazy. So it's the sugar, it's the vegetable oils, but it's also the thoughts. And you said that. There was a great cell biologist named Bruce Lipton, and he showed that you could actually create inflammation in your body with the thoughts that you think, the negative thoughts that you think. So you could actually heal your body with the positive thoughts that you think, the mindset that you have every day, the people you surround yourself with, the books you read, the podcasts you listen to. So that is just as important as the food that you eat. It's the thoughts that you think and the people you surround yourself with. That
sounds like some voodoo, because they're like, what do you mean you can heal yourself with your thought? See, I believe it because I'm a person of massive faith. And to me, it's like I can choose faith and choose positivity, and that's going to outpour somewhere in my life. Other people like, no, I'm too scientific, and that doesn't work.
I have an answer for that.
Come on, hit me with the science, man. Where's the Bill Nye the Science Guy thing? We don't have it anymore. Okay, hit it.
Yeah. So if you think this is a little woo-woo and you want the actual evidence of it, all right.
Give us the evidence.
Remember I said when you have too much blood sugar, too much sugar in your bloodstream, you're going to be aging faster. That's all studies will show that. Any scientist will let you know about that. So you could actually test your blood glucose, right? Test it. Maybe you're optimal right now. Yeah. And then stress yourself out with your thoughts and then test it again in an hour. You're going to see that skyrocket. You didn't eat anything, but your negative thoughts made the sugars go up. So that's a simple approach right there. So go give it a try.
Dude, that's not a lie. That's right here. That's what that is right there. Straight true.
The X-Files?
The X-Files, man, because people just don't know about this stuff. Listen, just take my word for it. Take Ben's word for it. We're Ben and Ben, the health guys. I'm telling you, this stuff works. And when I got this in check, the reason I'm such a health advocate these days, and I'm not I don't know if I'm a health nut. I just decided to get accountable because the problem was I was cheating a lot, right? I cheat on my diet. I'm cheating on my workouts, and I'm just not doing the things that I'm really supposed to do. So what I did was I ended up getting a mentor, getting a coach in this space. And every day the coach is texting me, here's the app, here's the workout, here's the food, here's the macro count. Make sure you hit these goals every day, and you'll keep progressing whatever your body goals are. So it's like accountability, just like any other area of life, is so critical here. Ben, talk about it. Like, I know you've got some accountability stuff that you do. How important is it that people get accountable? And can they do this on their own, really, without a mentor?
No, you won't be able to go far without a mentor, for sure. Accountability is the glue that ties your goals to the actual results, right? It brings it all together. So it's very important to have a coach, to have a mentor, and it's important for your coach to have a coach, right? I think that's a red flag if your coach does not have a mentor. So what happens is when you pay somebody to teach you what they know, to get all their experience, all their knowledge, what you're doing, what Tony Robbins has said, you're taking decades, turning that into days. Okay. So if you want a shortcut to results, this is the shortcut to success right here. You pay somebody to teach you what they know. And I do it. I continue to do it. And Ben does it. He clearly does it. So yes, you got to have a coach. You got to have a mentor.
I love that, man. Right? Turning decades into days, my boy Ben Azadi, don't play. Like, that is awesome, man. So turning decades into days. So it's so powerful to be able to, to understand that a mentor is a massive asset, and it's not an expense, it's an investment. So let me ask you this, because we kind of switch it up a little bit. A big topic that a lot of people maybe struggle with, I'm gonna go there right now, is pooping. You should poop, right? I'm gonna say it, right? I'm gonna say you need to poop more often. You know, how important is it? Because I know some people, they struggle with this area of their life and they poop once every 4 or 5 days, and it's like, dude, that can't be healthy for you. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're right.
Okay, so talk to us about the sticky mess. Sorry, it's gonna be a bunch of I told you it's a fun show.
Yeah, it's important because you're eliminating toxins, dude. And if you're not going on a regular basis, meaning every single day, you're supposed to go after you have a meal. You're supposed to eat the meal, process the meal, and go shortly thereafter. And you are taking toxins and eliminating it from the body. So if you are not going on a consistent basis, you're getting this backlog of toxins that is creating a problem in the body. It can lead to disease. It can lead to symptoms. So it's very important to go on a regular basis. And the question is this: how do I make myself go on a regular basis? How do you do
it? Is it just fiber, or is it like, pounding a coffee? Like, what is the best thing people can do to just? Sorry, it's just a funny topic for me. I'm like 7-year-old with this stuff. So what can people do though? Is it just fiber or what?
No, it's not just fiber. In fact, fiber is not even a big role there. It's first of all, mastering your stress levels. Those who are stressed out, chronically sleep deprived, are those who are going to be constipated. The body does not want to go use the bathroom if it's in a stress state. So make sure your sleep is on point. I'm not saying you have to sleep 10 hours a night, but make sure when you do sleep, it's quality, and make sure you're mastering your stress, not managing. Mastering your stress. I would start there, then have more water, have more micronutrients like green leafy vegetables and potassium and magnesium and apple cider vinegar. Those are some things you can do. I do have a video on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ketocamp, all about constipation and a protocol on there. But I gave you some great tips right now.
I love that. Throw that out there, Hans. We're going to see that. So when you're stressed, is that why you can't go when you're at the truck stop and the trucker's next to you in the stall?
That's
because you're stressed.
That's part of it. Yeah, you're like, oh shit.
You're literally. Okay.
Oh no shit.
That's right, dude. That's awesome. Because I know it's an important part. Listen, you gotta stay focused, and you gotta stay regular with this stuff. And so it's about consistency. Consistency in your bowel movements is just as important as consistency in your workouts as it is consistency in your macronutrients and your count. I think the best way to do this is to start getting really granular about the data and ignore the drama, because fitness is a huge area of drama for a lot of people. Well, I'm going to go for a walk later so I can eat this massive brownie. Well, that's not really how it works. I mean, I know you think it does, but just because you consume calories doesn't mean you can just burn them off and then there's like zero consequence. There's no residual consequence of you rocking 400 calories on this brownie. So like for people right now, they want to take action. They want to do something, Ben. What can they do? Should they get on a workout program? Should they join a diet? Where should they just get started? Because I think that's a big component.
Yeah, I would start with the foundations. Start with the foundation. So your sleep, your stress, your movement, your water, eating whole foods. You start right there. Boom, you're on the right track. And then you could start pairing the keto and the fasting and the supplements and all these hacks that I give. But if you don't have the foundation, then that house is going to just fall apart. So start with the foundational stuff. Then you start building and stacking from there.
I love it. And you help people with this, right? Like you've got training on this. What's the best way that people can maybe connect with you and take their health a little bit more seriously?
Yeah, I do. So my YouTube channel is a great resource. As you can see in the background, I have hundreds of videos on there, 85,000 subscribers in about 15 months. So a lot of free content on there. If you want me to coach you on this, if you want actual structure where you don't have to think about it, you don't have to actually study, yeah, that's my YouTube channel right there. Then I'd love to help you out. I have a structure. It's called my Keto Camp Academy, and it's online anywhere in the world. So that's ketocampacademy.com.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. This has been such an enlightening conversation. And again, some folks are like, well, just give me the business. This is the business. I promise you, if you don't get this area dialed in, you're going to struggle in your life. And once you do get it dialed in, it's giving you a superpower. It's just so much easier to win at business and win at life and relationships and mindset if your body's in check. It's that simple. Like you're giving yourself a massive advantage by just handling this one part of your life. And yes, it takes time. But what I've noticed, Ben, is when you really take it seriously, it doesn't have to take mental bandwidth. So when I hire a coach, I remove the decisions from my brain. In fact, my life gets easier because we have a limited amount of willpower in our brain and we consume it every day and it depletes. So by the end of the day, we have no willpower left. And that's why people make terrible decisions. I'm going to grab that extra snack, have 6 beers, whatever it is that you're doing. A lot of the stuff comes out when you're completely tired, exhausted, and you have no willpower left. So by just getting on a program and creating consistency in that area of your life, even if you ramp it up, like what I do may seem extreme. Dude, you're doing an hour and a half of workouts a day. One has to be outdoors. You know, you're consuming X amount of calories to the nose. You have to be within that window. You know, you've got to take your measurements every day. You got to take your picture every day. It sounds like a big old headache. But you know what? Once you develop a rhythm for it, it just becomes part of your life. And then you stop thinking about it. So it's like I get the benefit without the headache versus a lot of folks who, you know, they're so stuck thinking about it and they're confused on what to do and where to go and whatever, that they're just living in this no man's land of like, I don't have the results and I have the stress. And now, you know, I can't get any progress done. So I love it. I think folks need to connect with Ben. Any last words of advice for our friends at home here, Ben, who are stuck in coronavirus, torture camp and they're trying to figure out, you know, what they could do with their time right now? If they can't go to the gym perhaps or whatever because it's on lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, right now is a great opportunity. I see it as an opportunity, not as a drawback. So if you could start that book that you've been wanting to start, that podcast, that business, that whatever, that project that you've been holding off, right now is the time to do it. It does start with your health though, because you're not going to be able to scale up the way you want to scale up if you don't have the vitality and energy. So I'm going to just share a quick story. It'll take me less than a minute about this gentleman who was 30 years old, who every year with his family on his birthday, he had a number of wishes for the age he was turning. So he was turning 30. He had 30 cards, 30 wishes, right? 5 years later, turning 35, he had 35 wishes, right? Now he's about to turn 40, but he has been diagnosed with a cancerous disease. And on that birthday, instead of having 40 cards of wishes, he had one, and that one wish was his health. So the person who has health has many wishes. The person who does not have health has one, and that is to have their health. So I urge you to prioritize your health. Start right there, and I hope this conversation was useful.
Very, very powerful. And just want to touch on one thing for folks at home who are maybe concerned about their immune system. I think now is a great time to focus on boosting it and staying in a state. What should people do? Maybe the top 3 things to keep their immune system high and you know, help them prevent maybe getting, you know, sickness or whatever right now.
Well, everything we mentioned will boost your immune system. Every single thing that we talked about, all of my recommendations here will boost your immune system. I'll throw some additional stuff.
Sure.
Going outside and getting some sunshine as much as possible. That sunshine will activate your vitamin D. Also, eating healthy fats and getting those fat-soluble vitamins will help. Exercise will boost your immune system, and sleep will boost your immune system. So do those things. Take less hits. I think it's important for boosting your immune system is not necessarily about adding things on. It's about doing or removing things. So the carbs, the sugar, the vegetable oils, remove that, and your body will know what to do with any virus.
I love it. This is awesome, guys. Appreciate you so much. Folks at home, make sure you share the stream. Go check out my man, Ben Azadi. What's the best place for folks to follow you? I know YouTube is one of them. Is there any other platform that they should be connecting with you on, my man?
If you like to listen to podcasts, go listen to my Keto Camp podcast.
Boom.
And then on Instagram at the Ben Azadi.
At the Ben Azadi. I love it, Ben. Thank you so much, man. Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble, featuring daily episodes of the Humble Podcast and weekly video content providing motivation, real estate strategies, and personal development for everyday life. Also, follow Ben on Facebook and Instagram for daily interactions. Check out humble.ceo and download a chapter of Ben's new book, From Communism to Capitalism, absolutely free.